Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to lesson 9.6, Add Fractional Parts of 10 and 100. Don't forget to name the lesson and put the date at the top of your math journal page. All right, so we are looking at how we should be adding tenths and hundredths. Let's first take a look at tenths and hundredths in regular fraction form. We have 3 tenths plus 21 hundredths. By now, based on what you've learned with fractions, you should know that we cannot add tenths and hundredths without changing one of the denominators. In other words, we need same denominators in order to add these two fractions. So we would change tenths to hundredths. 3 tenths. We're making an equivalent fraction. Times 10 would give us 100. Whatever we do to the denominator, we must also do to the numerator. Or whatever we multiply the denominator by, we must multiply the numerator by. And 3 times 10 equals 30. So 3 tenths and 30 hundredths have or are equivalent. They have the same value. So now we can rewrite our expression to 30 hundredths plus 21 hundredths. 30 plus 20 is 50, plus 1 is 51 hundredths. Now, just as we have to change the denominator for the regular fraction, when we're working with regular fraction, we need to do the same when we're looking at decimals. Here's 3 tenths, and we need to add 21 hundredths, a common mistake, and I'll show you that over here. And I'm labeling this red for mistake. A common mistake I see students do would be this. And that's their answer. We also need to remember we need same denominators. Therefore, if we have 21 hundredths, we need to change 3 tenths into hundredths. Remember what we do. 3 tenths is the equivalent of 30 hundredths. Therefore, our new sentence would be 30 hundredths, which has the same value as 3 tenths, plus, oh, I should have put a 0 there, 21 hundredths. I don't know why I didn't do that there. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we rewrite this. And this is where place value comes in. The decimals are lined up. The place values are lined up. We have the hundredths. Oh, sometimes you need to make sure you're doing your work as meticulously as possible. So I'm lining that up nicer than I had before. There we go, and our plus sign. So now our place values are in the right spot. Okay, so we end up with 51 hundredths, which we ended up with in regular fraction form here. So make sure you're not making this mistake. That's a big one. I see it happen a lot. Lining up your place values are very important. Okay, let's see another example of this, both with the regular fractions and the decimal fractions. Let's start with the decimal fractions first. So your first step is to, well, let's look at the problem first. We have 5/10 plus 25 hundredths. They do not share the same denominator at this point. I know I have two digits in 25 hundredths, two non-zero digits, so I'm going to need 5/10 to change to hundredths to find a common denominator. With decimals, common denominator is pretty easy. It's either 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and so forth. They're all multiples of 10, or rather, powers of 10. So, 5/10 will change to 50 hundredths plus 25 hundredths. And that's pretty easy to do. You could almost do that in your head. It's always good to double check your work. I lined up my place values. And that's 75 hundredths. Okay, so let's take a look at the fraction. 5/10 plus 25 hundredths. Same value, only in regular fraction form. Well, I have to change 5/10 to hundredths. I'm multiplying tenths by 10 to get 100. Therefore, I need to multiply the numerator by 10, and I get 50. So now I have 50 hundredths plus 25 hundredths, which equals 75 hundredths. And just a little note, you don't have to focus on this now, but some of you may recognize this. 75 hundredths is equivalent, if I divided both the numerator and the denominator, to 3/4, which means 3/4 is also equal to the decimal, 75 hundredths. Okay, so this was the answer we were looking for when we were adding the regular fraction. And this, I should really color these things. This is the answer we were looking for when we were adding with decimals. Now I'm going to have you try your own. Okay, here's your homework. You have 5 problems. Follow directions. Apply the skills that you just learned. Okay, I'll see you soon.